You like
And we had the big clippers back in the day. So
right? Yeah, it
how,
wasn't the 5 days. So yeah,
You know,
sir?
put three of them in man. I went.
Sir.
they were thick. They were thick.
I just went on here with yep. Just gonna we're gonna start this all over. And I'm saying, look at me now. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying,
No, I
like I
can't
ain't touched
even.
them
I can't
since.
deal. I
Real
can't deal.
creative. Like I wish she would use her superpowers for good and not evil. Like
Hey, just you
why
gotta shift it. You
why
know,
is there slime stuffed in a cup under your bed? Like
Oh, I'm so glad
she
why?
you
look
said that. I feel
mischievous.
so much better. I thought I was the only one.
No, like
Every,
I pray for
every
patience.
kid got how
The
they
Lord gave
flaw.
her.
Popped a
My
cup of
thing is,
yogurt.
I gotta tell this story on TikTok. That was gonna be my clown story, or I remember when. Um, y'all remember going to arcades? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
hold on.
Yeah.
What's up,
I
YouTube?
worked at
How
one
y'all doing, YouTube?
in high school.
Oh no, they're trying to bring them back. I see, especially up here. But once again, this is your host, Mr. D713, with Everything Culture. Welcome back to Sunday Nightcap, where we do a recap of this week's episode as well as talk about what's going on right now with a few topics within the week. But we have Leah with y'all know Leah with Take a Space Pod, Champions Discourse, Black Horror Humor. You know, we do that thing. We have Crystal with Lifeline Podcast. You know, she back with us again. What's up, Crystal? And we got Denario 2 weeks in a row, baby. You know, the streak's going. What you got to shout out, man? I'm seeing you putting poetry in up and all that. Well, how can people find you? Find all y'all.
Oh man. All my spaces at my name, Denario, man. Yeah, I'm doing poetry, spoken word, trying to get a book out there, and
Already.
all that with a full-time job, two full-time jobs,
Mm.
one being work that I get paid for, another one being a parent that they say there's benefits. I'm still waiting on that to hit my bank account somewhere.
Just it'll come. I don't know. It hopefully it'll come.
Hopefully.
I don't want to lie to you. I don't want to lie to you. But yeah, man. Okay, so arcades. It used to be crazy. So back in the day, we used to be arcade in the mall, and it was just like clockwork. It was like a button. Soon as I put my quarter in that machine, I had to go pee. It was no pause button. You know, it was nothing to do. I just had it just for
What?
whatever reason.
You never
Soon
figured out like let me go before I put my quarter in?
I did. I never had to go before. Now this is like, man. Hey, let me tell you something. Once again, I'm glad we're on YouTube right now. This is something I may talk about next week for Mother's Day. I be, y'all have a blocks. I mean, a lot of stuff, repressed memories been coming up recently. Like my mother, I don't know if y'all parents did this. My mother used to drop us off at the mall, like at 6 and 7,
Mm-hmm.
5, 6, and 7, like drop off. That's it,
Yeah.
man.
I had to beg to like finally be able to go in like maybe middle school.
No, I'm talking about I was in kindergarten
This is what I'm
and
talking about.
like
Like, yeah, no, that was
We were
like
never. No, I was
when I
never.
was
I was
allowed
in
to
middle
take the
school.
bus by myself there, it was a big like that was the big deal.
mm,
But you always
but
had
she
somebody
said
to watch you. Like
No, that
somebody was the
my
oldest.
responsibility was I was the oldest and I was still
Yeah.
6, 5, 6. That's what I'm talking about.
So,
And I'm like, that me where that was what? I'm like, how we need either way, okay. Because I'll be in the arcade. She knew I'll watch my brother, and I was so hooked still to this life, still to this day on video games, okay. So, but every time I put that quarter in, my bladder's like not just like yellow or orange. You got to go now. I'm like, well, I just put my, you didn't have a lot of money, and I'm like, I'm just trying to do the Simpsons game, and I'm like, okay, so for whatever reason, I want to say this was maybe first grade, maybe first grade. No, it's kindergarten. It's kindergarten. I remember because Miss Taylor's class. I remember that I've told this story before, but I remember I like, you know what? I'm gonna see how long I can hold my pee. So I like just use
that is
them.
a dangerous thing.
Mm, hmm?
I said that
Yeah,
is a
just to play. But I was successful the first day. This is like on a Sunday. I was
Messed your head
successful
up.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I started feeling uncomfortable. I started telling my mom like my stomach hurt.
You did not
Boy,
go
ain't
to
nothing wrong
the
with you.
bathroom at all for all those days?
I went to the ER on a Friday morning.
Oh yeah,
I
really wanted to die.
I'm like screaming, excruciating pain, like excruciating, like crying, tears. My mama don't know what's wrong. She's freaking out. My grandmother involved. Everybody, they drive me to the ER. What's wrong with them? What's wrong with them? And you know when they do that, the doctor bring you back and hey, what's going on? And your parents right there listening. You answer the question, and like maybe the third question. So when last time you went to the restroom? Sunday. Man, like I think
The
my
look from
grandmother
concerned to upset.
my grandmother was like, what? My mom was like, stop lying. I'm like, I'm not lying. She's like, there's no way possible you can do that. And I'm like, I'm just like, she's like, you are not. She
Survey says
kind
that
of
is why.
but kind of like you was like, she's like, I know this boy ain't that stupid. You ain't. She was like, you ain't the one. Like this ain't your type of behavior. And man, when I tell you the doctor's like, okay, he'll be all right. What we're gonna do is put him on some fluids, take him home, give him water, Gatorade, and make sure he goes to the restroom. That was like the prescription. Watch him. Don't let him be alone. Like stay in the bathroom with him.
Right.
I never forget, man. Oh my god, my grandmother stayed in with me to watch me make sure I went to the restroom. I was standing above that toilet, like just I'm talking about continuous,
Austin
like
Powers.
to make for I'm like y'all think I'm over it. I am so serious. God, I wish both of them was here to tell y'all this story to confirm what I'm saying, because I got to the point I got tired, had to cut it off, hold it, and sit down because that's how it just wouldn't stop. It just like I know. So Casey. Oh my gosh.
So understand when you got boys,
ATT.
there's that point where we do things that you gonna sit back and go, even the responsible ones. Because remember, he said he was the responsible.
Yes.
Wow.
So even the responsible one has that moment where they go, let me try to do something that's no sense, no logical reasoning behind this. But I'm gonna try to do it anyway, just because.
And yeah, and that's gonna happen. That's gonna happen. It's just gonna happen. So that I'm glad it happened in kindergarten rather than me being like older. But you go like,
So when you have your son, I want you to remember this story.
oh, man. When we talking about this, I was with Daenerys wasn't around. I was talking about this on Clubhouse. Man, why? And this is going for Chris and Daenerys. Y'all got the kids right now. Why, when people have kids, they forget about their childhood? That's what it seems like.
I don't.
Nope. Don't let nobody tell a lie.
Well, this one, my homeboy, G Jack, I'm gonna throw you out there. He be trying to get on my godson all the time for this and that. I didn't need prune juice. Prune juice would have activated something else, really, TT. We ain't trying to go there. I ain't trying to be stuck out like that. But he be on my godson, his son, and I'm like, nigga, you was 1,000 times worse. Where do you think he get it from? Like he's like a extreme light, extremely mild, nothing. That's just what I'm like. You were like the Bart Simpson grown up in our community, man. You used to moon old people. Like you used to do like wild stuff, man. Like why did he do that? Like, and now your son, he getting with this. You try to go off on him. You are just like that's your child. That's your child.
That's why you go off though. See, like that's the part that we not gonna admit to as parents is that you're not going off because you upset that they doing it. You going off because you upset because you remember when you did something that was within the parameters of that same thing that they doing.
This is why my mom was so mad at me. This is how much it cost her to fix this. Oh, heck no.
Yeah, you know, like that stuff that your parents used to tell, like, Dre, You know we got a saying in the South, you gotta see your stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Whenever you
Oh,
have kids, you gotta see your stuff. Whatever you put your parents through, whatever you did, whatever sneaky thing you did, whatever you think you never got caught doing.
it could be my mouth. All right, I've been saying it could be my mouth. My
Like I
wife.
used to play with fire. Like when I moved from California back to the country, I used to go get matches, those old school wooden box matches. Used to go sit out in my great granddad's old shed in the front yard, sit in the corner by the bushes, strike them, let them burn halfway down, and throw them, trying to let the air put it out before it hit the ground. Bruh, I moved into this apartment I'm living in, and about a month after moving in, I go into my kid's bedroom. It's scorch marks on the ceiling. And that
I couldn't even say. I just typed in the chat. What?
and you sit up there like, and in the back of my head, I'm going, you remember when your ass was sitting back there with the matches behind that shed, and your grandma caught you, and you ain't got no excuse for why you did it. You gotta see your stuff.
So okay, I'm gonna ask. This is for the chat. This is for the chat, and this is for Leah and Crystal. Since y'all, when you play with fire, what they used to tell you? What do you think they? I don't know if they said it anywhere else, but when you play with fire, what would happen?
So I had a shared moment. Oh, he's so cute.
That's the stuff we love here. We love this. That's what we do it for. Look.
I did have a behind the shed moment. I was at
Hold on. But what would happen? This is the question. When we get to your behind the shed moment, what would happen? What would the elders tell you if you play with fire? What would happen?
You're gonna get burned,
right?
No, you piss the bed. You play with fire, you pee the bed.
If you play with fire, if you play with Matt, if you stay like they said, if you like stare in the flame and all that, you would pee the bed.
That is a lie. They just
No, it's
said
not.
that to you.
I don't.
No, it's not.
They said that to you, and then absolutely sprayed you down with water if they even smelt fire in the house.
Hey, I don't know. Once again, that's
a Southern thing. They wanted to make sure.
Like, I knew Daenerys would know. I knew Daenerys would know.
Oh, because you was playing with fire.
That. But you know what? That might not be far from the truth because my sister's gonna kill me, y'all.
Oh,
so that's fine. But it was.
I'm a tagger.
So long story. Well, just to connect the dots, unconnect the dots. My father is a stereotypical Jamaican man, and I'm just gonna leave that out there. So it was my birthday, and I was having a birthday party. And my sisters so my stepmother was like getting my sisters ready to come to my birthday party. Mm-hmm. And my younger sister, before they left, like, they were left dressed and ready to go. She decided to light something on fire and throw it in a garbage can. Like she lit a match, or I think it was a paper towel. And then, it flamed up. So she threw it in the garbage can. And that didn't end too well. So before they came to the birthday party, because they were late, because she ended up having to take another shower and change her clothes because my stepmother beat her ass and she pissed herself. So there might be some truth.
No, she did that because she got beat. She got beat so bad she lost control of her bodily functions.
I didn't have that.
Because I played with fire when I was a kid. Just like trying to light different things on fire. It was me and my brother in my room and trying to just light different things. I was like, I wonder what happens when you light a paper. What happens when you pour alcohol on a dresser? Ooh, it turns blue. What else can we light on fire? So
y'all was trying to burn something down for real.
I was like, look, I was adventurous as a child. I would be on the roof. I would be out and about. Like I would just be places and do stuff. But I have never lit a match and then been like, oh snap, if I play with fire, I'm gonna pee in the bed. Like, what?
Hey,
That
once
is
again,
absolutely a Southern thing that they just said to you to get you to
we need to
not
do
do
our
it.
research. It's time to do
Hey,
some research. We got to
it's
take it out.
true.
I found a book, like a half a book of matches. I was at the park and it was like behind the shed. Found a book of matches and I lit one. And I like now thinking back on it, I must have just watched the match burning because I burnt my finger. And that's how my babysitter at the time like realized that I was playing with fire because I burnt my damn finger and it hurt. I probably got beat. I don't know. I don't remember, but I just remember burning my finger because I was playing with matches. But I did not pee the bed.
Mhm.
See, it's tight. It's tight. I didn't play with fire. Like I play with matches, but never like cause we pop fireworks like on July 4th and all that. We were playing with matches. But one
It's a
thing,
superstition according to Google. It
I
is a
never heard it.
That
Reddit.
means it's
People on
real.
Reddit said that they've heard it. It is a superstition. That's why they never did it. It was just their parents' way of warning them, um, like don't go outside because the boogeyman is gonna get you, or if you keep crying, like you know how they have the weeping woman in certain
La Lorena, something like that.
La Yorna, yeah,
La Lorena, yeah.
yeah, and so it's just one of those like superstitious things. Like if you split the pole, you'll ruin the relationship.
I remember that. I know
Is
that
one of
one.
those.
I used to get on my
That's
wife
what that
all the
is.
time back in the day.
But yes, playing with fire, you're gonna get burnt. That's what I know. The whole wet the bed thing.
Play
No,
with fire, you're gonna pee in the bed. That's what we're gonna
that's
say.
absolutely a Southern thing that they told you guys just so that you guys won't play with matches.
I got a
Because y'all
cousin that
got
play.
too
Our
much. Y'all
country
like a
accent.
tinderbox out there.
Hey, I play with a cousin. He used to be. Hey, just saying. I think that may have been Home Alone too, but I digress. So, and I'm looking at this chat right here. Everybody was setting stuff on fire. TT cutting her ponytail off. Oh, TT. What? Yeah, well, boys do the same thing. But I know when little girls cut their hair, oh, that used to be heartbreaking. And I see my brother lit paper airplanes on fire because he was playing with his GI Joe and wanted to make the fight more realistic. I feel that though. I feel that though. Like on some real stuff, man. As a kid, as a boy, I feel that. Hey,
And
hey,
that's a live action
that
camera
was
right
lit
there.
right
Like,
there though.
here we go.
Came home. I used to work at a summer camp when I was in high school. And I came home one day and my little brother was in his room with his friend. They playing video games. Mind you, I was working at a summer camp. And he's sitting on his bed, they playing video games, and he has a bicycle helmet on. I said, Alex, did you cut your hair? And he took that helmet off. I don't know what he
Oh
thought
my
would
god.
happen. But he had a bunch of patches.
Man, we gotta do like the dumb stuff we did as children. Like I used to lick like this is like first, second grade. I used to lick my finger, unscrew the bulb, and stick my finger in the socket. You did that too? Oh,
No!
you did. Okay, see, thank you, Daenerys.
Oh wait. You said you unscrew the bulb and put your finger into the socket,
Just get that
and it
little
makes
shot.
that weird little tingly thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, it's like because you're not sure what's gonna happen, but you put your finger in there just
until that one time that shit hit you a little too hard. Like
I never
I
experienced
watched enough
that.
Looney Tunes. Nope. No, sir.
Okay,
You know, I probably thought I was a real life cartoon. Like I just did stupid stuff.
Okay.
But I did have a friend when we, again, like middle school, we were in a science camp, science and technology summer camp.
Okay, nerd.
And one of my friends, I won't name her name, but we were studying like electricity and circuits. So, you know, the instructor told us how like if you have a closed circuit, then like, you know, you're good. It's if the circuit is open that like you'll get the shock at the end of that circuit. So my friend, who is the salutatorian of our graduating class, so you know, she had some sense, put the two ends of a wire into the outlet.
Oh my god!
But the instructor was in fact correct. It was a closed circuit and everything worked out. But that wasn't the point.
It's a blessing.
The point was who tests that shit? Like, who was really going to be the person to decide, let me see if this is in fact real?
Listen, God take care of babies and fools.
Man, for real.
That when I was dumb, Lord was like, let me go ahead and cover you. You don't know what you're doing. Come here, little stupid child.
Well, okay. I mean, what was one?
Okay, so it says, I'm still looking at because this is interesting to me. Most people are repeating this, said that they were in Texas. So it's Texas, South Africa.
Oh, it comes from somewhere. See, my people.
There are some parts of Europe where this is repeated, and in some parts of the Dutch culture.
Yeah, it's not even just black. Look at that.
See, told you. It's
real.
I'm
gonna do the research about that a little bit more.
Y'all are freaking weirdos. Y'all just wanted to make sure
you just don't understand this. You just don't understand
this. To make sure, because it said, because in Dutch, is it Dutch?
For real.
Hold on, it's
protected by the prayers of our ancestors. Ain't nobody praying for me, boy. Like
in Texas, it was. The boys who play with fire would wet the bed. I think he was just in a house full of boys. But yeah, in Dutch, if you play with fire, yeah, you'll wet the bed. Yeah, so you guys are freaking weirdos, and have kept the superstition alive for way too long.
It wasn't even about playing with fire. If you stared at fire too. If you like stared in the flame, they would say you a Peter.
Then how do you blow out birthday candles? What is going on?
You're not supposed to stare.
What you mean?
You looking at everybody else.
I'm that weirdo. Like for a long time, I thought I was a pyromaniac because I'd be like, "Ooh, fire, pretty." Like,
so what happened?
I don't play with matches now. Shoot, that's
what happened with the ornament? What happened with the ornaments, Leah?
What happened with the ornaments? What happened with ornaments? Who said that? Really, TT? Because that's the only thing she keeps trying to bring up. Me and my brother, it was Christmas, and we tried to go and get we wanted to go and get the presents before everybody else woke up. So the night before Christmas, we woke up to go get into the presents or something like that, and we didn't know there were ornaments on the floor, and they were like the ornaments that you could break.
The big ones, like the glass.
And so
were they glass or they something else?
No, they're glass.
They're glass. They're like the real ornaments. And so we got kind of pretty good. So
oh my god,
yeah. We were trying to get into the presents. So I was like, what is all this noise? Yeah, I mean, I talk about shaving. That's why I can't really like.
Your parents put down booby trap.
My mom gave me bangs, and I didn't want bangs, so I took some scissors, and it was like the tightly curled 1990s bang with the roller. I was like, I don't want these snip. I straight up cut that bad boy off, and she was like, "What did you like?" And I just remember my mom being so mad, and my dad having to walk out of the room because he couldn't hold it together. He was like, "What the hell did you do to your?" What did you do? And then my mom was like, what did you do? I was like, I cut my hair. She was like, why? I said, because I didn't want any. I told you I didn't want any bangs. And so yeah, I got whooped pretty good. She was not happy. I don't know how long I walked around with just like it grew back, but I was like 5, maybe 5 or 6. I was young, but I was like, shoot, I don't want these. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off.
See, that's the thing. The kid, like the worst thing. Go ahead.
I said, you give me hope,
girl. Listen,
for my test and patience.
Listen, I'm telling you,
because Lord knows.
I know. I put my parents through a ringer, but I'm like, look, it came from somewhere. I told my parents it had to come from somewhere.
Man, I let one of my friends cut my hair before, like at a very young age. That was the first time I went bald in my life. Like, mom was mad. I'm talking about, I thought I was clean. And I still remember, I love my friend's mother. Love you. But she hyped me up talking about it looked good too. Man, when I got home, I'm talking my mother went off. Like, what the hell? Oh man, coming up, Daenerys, did you have a what is it called, a ducktail when you was grown up?
Oh my gosh.
Hey, I like Dario more and more every day, man.
No, he didn't wipe his hand down like he still got it. He's like, listen, wait a minute. Let me tell you something about this ducktail.
Man, I don't know how I need to talk about hair and look. One of the most traumatic times of my life. Man, I used to have a ducktail. I used to, they call it a rat tail when you braid it up.
Yeah.
And where they plaited it, whatever. That was like my pride and joy. That was my thing. Thick, good going, whatever. Like, I remember going to a barber. I still remember this barber's name. Rest in peace. Doug. His barbershop was on a hill in not North Tyler, but near North Tyler. And I remember going, and I remember my brother went before me. And I remember him cutting off his ducktail. And I remember my brother crying and everything like that. Cause we took pride in our ducktails, okay?
Yeah.
And
What
I already
made him
knew.
think like, oh snap, this is
Why did he cut them?
Yeah.
My mama wanted to. She was like, it's time to go. The fat
this
is
was your
over.
mother's decision.
Oh, this is mother's decision. Yes, this is my she and I already knew what's up. That's like when I first felt like your parents could be the ops. Okay. That's for the first time in life. My parents don't have my own business. That's because I'm like, you did this. You did this. Okay. That's like you trying to destroy my happiness. And I already knew when I was getting, I remember like tear rolling down my face. I'm like, do it. Like, oh my God. Oh my God. It's just the little things we do as kids, man. And we didn't even touch on the other topic that I'm gonna bring back for show is when is it appropriate to talk about critical race theory, basically racism in school? Should that be taught in school or should that be taught in home? Like, because unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be taught in certain homes.
The truth should be taught at home.
Needs to be taught in schools.
It's truth though, Denario. Like, so
this is.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
This was part of my issue, my big issue with the school system in general, and why I just know that that is not my place. Because I was that teacher that was like, I would tell my Black kids, like, y'all can't be out here doing the stuff that you see these little white kids doing. Like, you just can't. Period. End of story. Because you're the one that's going down. And I would tell my white students, like, I would never forget one day we were in class. And again, God, watches over children and fools. Because I told one of my white students, well, I didn't tell the white student, but I did have one white student in class, and we were having a discussion. I'm like, what do you think terrorists look like? They don't look Black and brown. They look, and I described the typical terrorist, which was a typical white person, white man. And I don't think I said that they look like him, but everybody understood that they look like him. So but it was just one of those.
A lot without saying it.
Like, those are the conversations that I would have. And but those are the conversations that needed to be had. But obviously, not everybody's ready for that. And but you can't be effective. You cannot be effective as a teacher unwilling to have these conversations or glossing over. I mean, look at all the stuff that like is coming out, and I mean, it's coming out because like people are recording it now, or we're having these conversations, so like they're buzzworthy headlines. But all these teachers that are like getting caught saying all this racist things, like, it's not like they haven't been doing it, they haven't been saying it. And they'll continue to do these things until the system changes. It's not just the individual teachers and individual classrooms. But again, when you go back to the structure, like, the whole policing system, like the police were formed from slave catchers. So of course you have the legacy that we have today. Mm-hmm. Schools were designed to train factory workers, to train, in essence, slaves, So this is what we continue to see.
I agree. I think that to Daenerys' point, he says that we should be teaching the truth. The question is, who's true? Because you have the Daughters of the Confederacy that did such a good job with making
Yeah.
sure that the Confederacy legacy lives on and is still strong as it's ever been, right? People who are still flying the rebel flags, that's saying that, it's, even though y'all lost, oh, this is our culture. Is it?
It's their culture.
Is it? So, but it's, interestingly enough, I did a debate episode on Champions of Discourse YouTube about having ethnic studies taught in high school, because a lot of times we have to wait till college or learn it on our own, or when we see a biopic come out, or whatever the case, right? Like, we shouldn't have to wait for Judas and the Black Messiah to learn about the Black Panther Party was more than just in Oakland. They had multiple chapters across the country,
And what they were for.
Yeah, I think that, to answer the question, I think that it's the job of the community. Like, that's why we have to get back to the village. It's the job of the community to teach the children, because the school is only going to be, the school is supposed to serve the students, or not serve the students. The students, the schools are built to serve the job market.
Right.
The job market calls for students to be, to comply and be obedient.
Yep.
Right. We don't teach critical thinking. We don't teach people to think for themselves, or to ask questions, or to go against the system. They're taught to be obedient. They're taught to comply. I think that it's more important that we as the community, we as the village, notice that, yes, not everybody is meant to be a teacher. I don't want to be around somebody else's bad butt little kids all day, every day. But if we can work together as a community to say, okay, I really like working on cars. Let's learn some trades. Like, my dad will say, when he grew up in high school, they have the
Shop.
option of learning a trade. Yeah. And by the time you graduate high school, you have a trade. But they took that away because too many of us were getting ahead.
So when I was in high school, like those trade schools were, so it was either you were on the college track, or if you were struggling, if you were a problem child, or if you were a special education student, then you went to like the trade school route.
Right.
But when you it was definitely looked down upon, because like I was in accelerated courses throughout middle school and high school. So I know that, like, for me and like other people who were in, like on the college track, we looked down on those students. Like, it was like they fucked up, so they're going to trade school. Like, that is their only option. But now it's like that is what was needed. Like, that is, and it's still like, so that program still exists like where I grew up. But in like every district that I've taught in since becoming a teacher, that like a system like that has been sorely lacking. And like places that did have those options, like you said, like didn't have them anymore. And it's like, it's college or nothing, which is crazy, because again, like when I was in high school, I had like a couple of Italians that I went to school with that like dropped out in like 8th grade, maybe 9th grade. And by the time we graduated, they were like driving Beamers and shit because they had their own businesses or were working in the family business, training to take it over. And, now 20 years later, they're still very well off.
Right.
But just enough education.
Huh?
Said just enough education to
just enough education. But we're taught that if you meanwhile, I'm sitting here with how many tens of thousands of dollars in, college debt, student loans. So who's better off financially? Who's better off here?
Oh man.
Yeah, and Casey, to your point, you said that you weren't allowed to take shot because of gender roles and you were forced into the college track. A lot. I mean, shoot, gen, gender roles played a huge role in what was available to us to take. Like men in economics, what home ec being taken by men, like that wasn't a thing. Like it wasn't just like it, in the 50s and the 60s in high school,
Oh
it
my
was like, look, no, men, y'all need to work in the steel mill, y'all need to know how to work in the auto body shops, y'all need to know how to do the manual labor. The women, you learn how to take care of a home. You need to make sure that you learn how to effectively sew, how to cook, how to clean, how to do all these things. So I can absolutely agree that, being forced into one way or another because of your gender coupled with your ethnic background, like that's going to play a huge role in what you have access to and the resources that you have, when it comes to school. But it's just like you talk about the Italians, they have a community, they have a
Mm-hmm.
village that is like, look, we want to make sure the family eats, we want to make sure that the family can take care of themselves, go to school, get just enough education.
Just enough.
When you get tired of school, come on, work for me, I got you.
Yep.
And
They gotta have that built though. They have without anybody coming destroying it or trying to gentrify it and things of that nature, selling out. That's the biggest thing they have. Um, but dang, I was just gonna say something. But yeah, I know I came in. Thank y'all for waiting. But well, keep going. Thank you for keeping it going. But I took not only home ec, but I took child development. And it's weird. Like I agree with you, Leah. Before my time,
I was gonna
a
say
lot of
that was
those
in the two
things,
thousands.
yeah,
That was early 2000s. That was like 20 years after gender roles.
and there still
Were,
wasn't a lot of men doing it though.
yeah,
Still
because
a lot
all the
wasn't
soft
boys.
skills are reserved for the women, and all of the physical labor is for the men.
But I
you took it for that easy A.
no,
A,
no,
a lot of people
I
took it
took
for that easy A.
mine. I took mine because I know what I was doing. Okay, I knew what I was
Yeah.
doing at that age. Okay, and I actually felt that I don't know why I thought that if it probably was reasons that I probably can bring up another day, but I wanted to be there. If I know what I'm doing. I'm having sex at this age. If I get a girl pregnant, I want to know how to take care of a child. Simple as that. I want to know what she's going through. I want to know if something ever happens to her because I know it's a higher mortality rate within Black women. And that's who I was involved with, still is to this day. Singular woman. And all in all being said, I want to be prepared. When I was in high school, I wanted to be prepared. I knew how to knit and sew at a certain time in my life. You know, if something come up, I wanted to know how to do that. Kind of wish I would have stuck with this stuff. No telling what it would be. But I'm big on now with my little cousins and like learn everything you want to learn. If you see something that you are good at, try it.
That's
Do it. You could be the next fashion designer. You could be like Daenerys. I was checking out his poetry, and I'm like, man, I used to do this all the time as a kid. But you know what? Life distractions come up. It's things that you get put. I started working. When I started working, um, that's why I love podcasting. This is work, but I love this. This is something I actually enjoy doing. But I think of the Dolly Parton song, 9 to 5. You
working
feel
nine
me?
to five.
Man, you ever listen to the lyrics of that song? She was spitting. Tell you
Yeah.
that she was spitting.
Yep.
Like they use your ideas to make them money. You know
Yeah.
that as simple as that. It's like that's the main focus. You get up, you slave for them, and just enough to give you dime enough credit. And I was at work. I was helping volunteer at my job, and I have that song on one of my playlists, and it came on, and I'm in HR, and I'm like, ooh, this is a song that like why people actually back working their 9 to 5. It's like, but I think me being in HR, I want to continue to push that role. I want to change that role that you ain't got to be here forever. You don't.
Yeah.
I
I
love to have
saw
it.
a quote today. It was, this post, the quote was, if you work like an animal, you'll be treated like an animal.
Mm.
And the woman who wrote it was saying how, she had a baby and then immediately got 2 jobs because she wanted to like be on her Beyonce, boss bitch, like whatever. And obviously ended up burning out, like, trying to do and be everything. And I guess in that experience, she realized like she's trying to, again, present this image that I can and will do it all, but at what cost? And that image, that work ethic, that belief, like really just, it's like this self-perpetuating cycle. Like that's all you'll ever get if that's all you. So that was like, yeah, that was interesting.
Can we bring back real mentors? People need to stop thinking that they can be Beyonce or they can be all these. Beyonce is a quadruple, triple double
Multi-platinum.
millionaire. She
But
can have 13 nannies for one of her kids if she wants
right.
to.
And she
Right?
also
Like there's no reason to try to keep up with the Joneses or to burn yourself out to prove that you this boss baddie or whatever. For who? For what? For why? You're gonna
and
burn yourself
The
out at 2
gram.
full-time jobs and then not be there for your kid to try to
Right.
say, oh, I'm super mom, but I can take it. Let's like normalize real life. Let's start there. Let's
And she made
normalize
the
real life.
point
At what point do you have all this energy to work 36 hours in one day and have time for your family and have time for your hobbies and try to keep your mental in check as well, your physical in check? I don't like that we have lost sight of our real mentors within our own communities, like
Mhm.
regular people.
and
Like
she
we have gotten so far away from that.
She also brought up the point, like in that same post, like at the end of, I think it's Homecoming, which I haven't seen, but she said that like Beyonce made the statement that like, okay, like I'd never do this again. Like, this was great, it turned out great or whatever, but I'd never do this again. So it's like, again, like you said, like we pick it, and like just as a society, as a culture, like we pick and choose the things that we want to put on pedestals, the things we want to highlight. And yes, like that, hustle mentality is like all the rage. If you're not hustling and then you're not
To what end though? Like hustle
right.
for what? Like if you could say, listen, I want to buy a house. I'm going to do all I can. Everything that I want to do in these next 3 years is going to be focused on me being able to build and pay off a house. But just hustling for the sake of hustling, hustlers don't want to hustle for the sake of hustling. Like who are you listening to? What are you who? Oh, people.
Well,
Like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say it go back to like the beginning of the conversation was it's history.
Yeah.
We're taught that it's instilled in us, and it's not even instilled in us. Today more so than ever, it's out in the open. Before it was subliminal. It's like, look at how the culture changed from the 70s to the 80s to the 90s of what beauty was. You know what I'm saying? Full figured women were all the rage. Now, if you ain't bigger than this piece of the pole right here,
That was in the 80s. That was like in the 80s, 90s.
you ain't hot. You ain't hot. You gotta be this big. You gotta be this big. Your butt gotta be that round.
Hey, the scenario that it's on the notepad. It's on the notepad. I had some people coming in talking about like the art of beauty, body dysmorphia, how people like you let society, even with myself, men, it happens on the same side. What's attractive, what's not. It's a fad at times, but be happy with yourself and stop chasing that the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah.
Man, the pursuit of happiness never stops for some people.
Yeah.
It's like if you steady chasing the trend, I'll go back and release this episode like, man, from a long time ago. And I had one of my bros come on and he was speaking facts, man. He like that. It was some deep stuff a lot of people won't understand, but like I'm glad you said, because I've been talking about like from the 50s, 60s, and 70s and how things looked and how things come back around. Like I think I used to say I say it not out loud, but I'm gonna say it here. But I think in the 90s, the whole slim, the late 80s and 90s, the slim model, you got to be this big to be a model and all that. I know it's been throughout history sometimes, but I actually believe like some drugs and cocaine had to do something with that.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
you think of Marilyn Monroe.
It was,
Marilyn Monroe was not
remember
skinny. You know,
when
Marilyn, she was curvy.
right, I forgot. I want to say it's Kate Moss, but there was like this. She, when she was like the it model, like that whole look was called heroin chic.
Get the fuck out of here. Write that
These,
down.
I mean, these models
It was
are, and
in the
it happens in
90s.
other cultures too.
In like the
Man,
early
like
90s, if you Google like heroin chic, like it was like literally a term, like in the modeling industry and like pop culture, whatever. Come in, because yes, like when everybody looked like that, that's exactly what it was called, heroin chic.
Yeah.
oh,
And
thank you, Crystal. Like, because I've been saying I like I like meat on my bone. That's all I'm saying. And not knocking anyone else, but it's like I'm seeing that shame that people put on other people. It's been there, you know.
and
And it's I'm like, but then like who are you trying to impress at the end of the
Right.
day? I never forget, I grew my beard out because I got tired of shaving it all the time. My hair grows back very fast on my face. Lucky me, guess what's in style when I started doing this? Beards
beers.
came in style. Because I remember to a point, beards was a no-no.
You
Especially
gotta
Clean
be clean shaven,
shaven. You got to
clean
make sure
shave.
that you're this
yeah,
and yeah.
trimmed up. Like
Yeah.
if you're gonna have it, at least have it neatly trimmed, or the man in the uniform
Yes.
stigma, like like hey,
The sign of
baby
respect of a
face.
hardworking person. You know, your hand. It's so many things that misconception. That's why we have these conversations we're having here. You know, that's the point. We have these conversations to get understanding on all sides. I still think about I want to hopefully I think it was Chinese, not Japanese, but I may be mistaken. But when they used to they used to constrict their feet.
Chinese.
Chinese.
Called
Chinese.
Chinese, Chinese, yeah, I
Yeah.
thought so. And I'm like, wow, like, I don't know if they're still doing it or not, but I know that was active
So
like in the early 2000s.
it had, I want to say, and don't quote me on this, but I believe it has like been officially outlawed, but because it was this was years ago, but because it like was such an ingrained part of the culture, such an
Yeah.
ingrained part of like the beauty standards, it's one of those things that is, I don't know how prevalent it is today, but it was still practiced, even after being outlawed.
Well, it's changed, right? Through that culture,
I
it's
think
no
so, but
longer
like I said,
constricting
don't
your
quote me
feet.
on it.
But it's no longer constricting your feet, it's your face. Look
Yeah.
at what's going on,
I
like,
mean, they take their
this,
faces back. I'm like,
yeah,
No.
Oh, with
what's
the makeup
changing.
Some of
thing.
these
Yeah.
makeup
Yeah, I
transformations.
saw that. I saw that. Well,
So,
thank you, Casey. Foot binding. That's what it was called. Thank you.
yeah, so what you don't see, what hasn't been, or what was recognized as, like, even for their culture, what was once recognized as a beauty thing has now transformed into something completely different, but it's still the same negativities. Like you have to
Hmm.
look a certain way in order for someone to deem you worthy.
Respect,
You
Pale
know,
love.
skin,
yeah,
so which signifies someone who doesn't work outside in the fields.
yeah. And that's why I say,
Yeah.
like, it goes back to, like, like I said, the talk of history. It's like, what are we being told is our history? What are we being told is
Mm.
the importance of our history to the melting pot of
Lady.
society? And now you're being told, there's people who are trying to change the history to fit. Oh no, the transatlantic trade
no, it's
is a thing.
immigration. It's immigration.
There
Yeah.
was a politician at one this week. Like I just read this headline this week.
Black
He
dude.
No, not him. It was a white one. But he said basically, and again, I don't know like the exact words, but his point was Native Americans have contributed nothing to the American culture, American society.
Yep.
Because their own culture did not start until Europeans came.
Yep.
And
Who said that?
them.
Yep. I remember that.
Oh, I gotta. I'll put it in the chat or whatever.
That upset me so much.
But no, this was like
Yeah.
this
I
week.
know. I believe you because it's the ignorance, and that's what comes back to that point. It's a video that I was gonna share it here, but I'm gonna make a post about it. Y'all see it. Y'all probably already saw it. That this woman looked familiar. Like she's been on some racism talks before. That she said, it doesn't make me racist if I don't want to teach my children about racism. They don't need to learn about racism in school. And man, that does make you a racist. That if you don't want to educate your children about properly what they need to know.
Rick Santorum, that's who it is.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Rick Santorum. Because I was like, I said, hold, wait a minute.
Google ain't working with me. I'm trying to Google it and
Wait a minute.
bring it back all kinds of academic research. I'm like, it just happened this week. Why don't you know this, Google?
There was. He says there was nothing in
changing
America before the white colonizers came.
But that's what they've been saying. It's nothing.
And I was like, who?
Yeah.
And when I say they, let me be cool.
Who? What?
When I say that's something where white men, of European men, American men, white people period that's been saying, they've been teaching that the lies, you know.
We're the savior. That's why every movie there's a white savior. You think of Avatar when it's like nobody has been able to beat this bird until the white man came and learned how to beat the bird, and now we're unifying all the nations because this white man came and told us we need to stop fighting as a nation and come together as a fist, and we need to do it's this white savior complex. Like the white people have, not all, but a lot of them have been fed this myth that we are all savages and we are uncivilized, even though you look at the Moors, you look at the original Europeans, you look at the Africans and how much the Greek came to Africa to learn from us. And we're taught that no, we were savages and we didn't have a culture before they came here. We should be so grateful because we were only bush people. We never knew how to do anything. We didn't even know what toilets were. No, you guys learned that from Africans.
And let me tell you,
you didn't have toilets, you didn't have libraries, you didn't have universities.
And classical music come from black people, come from Africa.
Absolutely.
Come from Africa. And that's what I love doing right here. That's what I love this. Because man, I didn't learn. If I didn't go to University of Houston, I want to learn so much about Black history. I had to go and pay for education to learn more. I didn't intend to do it. I just was going to go to school to get a psychology degree, and I decided to take African American Studies as an elective. Like you should, and this is at PWI. And I'm like, what? Every day I come back to, like, not every day because I went Tuesday. I think that was my class on Tuesdays. I came that motherfucking pen out, like seriously. I'm soaking it in. I'm looking forward to this class. You know, talking to the professor class. I'm like, man.
I was thankful every 2 weeks at the Dominicans because everybody knows the Dominicans straighten hair the best. And, you know, it was like just one of those things where like Dominicans know how to do a blowout. And it, like you said, it wasn't until college when I took an African studies course and I learned the history of the Dominican Republic and Haiti and the animosity and how, you know, I was like, that's why they know how to straighten hair. Like, because they're literally trying to erase their blackness.
Yes.
And obviously, you know, it definitely like opened my eyes and I had a whole just wow. But yeah,
it'll throw you off. It because man, American history, when you learn the truth, it's everything that is fun to be American is racism. I'm waiting to find out what's really baseball all about. I need to dig a little deeper because from the ice cream man to to dump tanks to most of the songs you sing.
What a picnic, yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I've been Sunday, the term, that's what bothered me
bonfires?
about. That's what bothered me about BET. The term Sunday's best
Uh-huh.
is racist.
What is that rooted in?
Lynching.
Really?
Yes.
I can see that.
Look, man,
I can see that.
they did
Because
their
they would get
lynchings.
dressed up to like go to the lynching.
Bingo.
It was a whole. They sold tickets.
Oh,
Oh,
that
yeah, I
was,
know.
and they
Flyers.
did it on Sunday. So you dress in your Sunday's best to see them lynch the nigger.
Oh.
I mean, like, I learned that, like, what? And this is like, and that's, once again, we got to do we're doing the rest of our review on. Shout out to Black Horror Humor. Y'all make sure to subscribe, check us out. But the film, them, oh my God.
It's serious. It's a series.
Like, not the film, but the series. Thank you,
Yeah.
the series, them.
Which series?
Them on
Them?
Prime.
Okay. I started like the first episode, and I had a Rosewood moment, just ready to
listen, ma'am. let me preface this because episode 1, I wasn't ready. Episode 3, I was messaging the guys, and I was like Drake and Baylor, my co-hosts, and I was like, I don't know who this is for. Who are we making this for? And the savagery, the images of how savage, and I don't mean savage like Beyonce or Meg Thee Stallion. I mean the actual savagery. The images that were portrayed, there was no implication of anything. They explicitly showed you everything. And I mean, by the end of the series, or by the end of this season, there's going to be a lot of feelings that you will have. Don't watch this with your children. Do not watch this at 2:00 in the morning like I did. Do not watch this. Make sure that you have a comfort pillow. If you're the person that needs a thunder blanket, make sure you have that with you. Get you a couple drinks. Take you a few sips, because it's very it's very moving, in a sense of you go from rage to sadness to anger to understanding, because there's that connection, that empathy that you have with the characters, to excitement, back to rage, to triumph, to readiness. So there's like this, you just gotta be ready.
I still I'm at a point in my life where like I refuse to watch certain things, like
and that's why I was gonna get on Crystal.
This Is Us. What was the Central Park 5 one?
Not 12. What is it called? Shoot, what is it called?
That one.
Oh shoot!
I will.
Okay.
Was it 13th precinct?
I think it was a 13. Something with 13.
No, you're talking about the 13th. The 13th Amendment. So that
no, not that one. Yeah,
no,
but yeah.
Good.
Whatever.
See, but the thing about Crystal, Leah, like that's what me and Leah was. We go back and forth. I say I'm usually people tell people watch stuff. I'm like, don't watch.
Yeah, I can't. Like
this
that
one.
Whoa.
This one, like it didn't do anything other than make me mad. Like but let me clarify. It's very good, but on the horror aspect,
When They See Us.
When They See Us, that's what it's called. Yes.
I can't do it.
But on the horror aspect,
I couldn't watch that either. I couldn't watch it.
What's that, them?
Them, hey, bro. Man, especially being from the South, it's go. Don't watch it tonight. Let me just watch it like on like a Friday, right when you get off Friday.
When you go to church and do communion, watch it right before then. Watch it right before communion so you can get the refresher that you need from the Word of God.
Antebellum?
Huh?
Yeah, I watched Annabelle. Okay. It's way worse than Antebellum.
I didn't watch Annabelle.
It's 1,000 times worse than Antebellum.
I don't know if I can.
That's what I'm trying to say.
I think Antebellum is like my limit right now.
And hey, I watched Antebellum maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks before we started this. And this shit blows Antebellum out of water. This is like
Crystal, as a woman, look at me. Look at me. As a woman, to watch this is a lot. Okay. As a mother, and a wife,
Oh my God.
You know,
your husband needs to be with you when you watch
gonna
And,
pass.
this.
and that's how in
That-
Denario. See,
I can't.
and she's relating to her as a woman, but there as a man, just don't watch it.
I can't.
So,
No.
because
Well, I was gonna
boy,
say,
because it's to the point where because what Leah is saying, she's telling the truth. But on the man side, being the protector of your household and being played, and because this was real, it's real. It's what we deal with every motherfucking day. It's like, how can you protect your woman
Yeah.
when you damn near can't protect yourself? How can you
yeah,
show that?
Nope.
And it's clear. And when into something like it tears you apart, even though it didn't happen to you, but it happened to you. That's the thing about when you got somebody you love and you put in your front line and you can't do it. That's it. It's and then you have all those the microaggressions. That's my thing. That shit right there,
They did
man.
such a good job with that.
They did
like
a
from
very good job.
from a screenplay standpoint, they did so well in capturing the Black experience. I mean, they did it perfectly to a T.
And we
Dario,
can't
if
tell
you were
y'all
to
the
watch
race.
this and you were to take on the role of the father, it would you would probably do the exact same thing he's doing, make sense as much as you can.
Problem. That's the
but
problem.
but I mean, it is so true to form. It's so true to form. And I would say, as a father, as a husband, sir, wear your thunder blanket before you watch. Just get you a couple of drinks in. Just get
Don't
your
drink.
get your thunder
Don't
blanket
okay.
on. It's
Put your
it's
gun,
it's
like
it's a lot. But what I do, I mean, it does drive home the point of communication within the family, because and Drake and I talked about this on the
Black Organ.
I was gonna say poker, but it's not poker. It's Spades episode. Communication being key. When you don't have communication in your household, outside sources can influence your actions inside your household. So this highlighted a lot of it. And so when you watch it, you can see it from different points. And we're talking about it tonight. But when you see it from different points of view of just like, what are the two little girls going through? What's the mother going through? What's the father going through? What are the neighbors putting them through? What the schools, the jobs they have to deal with, the teachers, the principals, all these other things, the demons that they have to fight. Like racism is just a backdrop in this story.
And that's what we
it's
disagree.
Just the backdrop. There's so many other layers to this story.
And that's where Leah and I disagree. I think racism was at forefront. If it wasn't for racism in the first place, we would be dealing with some other shit. Don't get me wrong. But just because of that the racism on all levels is with us, it's affecting us. Because as far as being a man in the house or even a parent, mother, whatever, you're not going to be able to know all things. But the main thing that's affecting all of them is racism, and it's like, shit, racism comes in so many different forms.
This is why Drake and I disagree. Are you going to watch it?
I might. Yeah, I'll watch it.
Okay. So I'm not going to ruin it.
We still got to do our conversation.
I'm not going to ruin it.
Because I finished it.
But what I will say is that the reason why, because you would think you think that, okay, racism is the common thread. It's the thing that's most prevalent in all of their lives. However, the demons that they're fighting, they assume that everybody else is just crazy. Well, you're dealing with this stuff, but I got my stuff, but you got your stuff, but I got my stuff, right? It's like trying to talk to your wife and you don't know your wife is going through something and she don't know you going through something, and both y'all can't understand why you can't help out the other person, right? So by the time the end of the season comes and everybody learns what everybody else is going through and they're able to be a unified front, that's why I say racism is only a backdrop, because until that communication happens, they can't be together as a family. And that's why I think that communication is the biggest thing, and not just racism. Because there's always going to be a type of hatred that happens. Otherization, sexism, racism, whatever. There's always going to be some type of hatred that happens. and you can say like that's the main thread in the movie, but that's, to me, that's just the backdrop, because there's so many different layers to this. So if you watch it,
Not
don't just watch it on the surface.
Well, to me, it seemed like for what y'all are saying is it's like y'all disagreeing on aspects of it, but y'all agreeing. Because for me,
yeah. That's usually how we disagree about shit.
yeah, it's an overall premise. Like even for you saying backdrop, it's an overall premise of racism. But
Mhm.
even within that, there's layers. Like you said, it's like okay, it's this part, but it's also this part. It's also this part. But you do see the encompassing racism that is there, and it's one of those things that is being played out in our schools as well.
Mhm.
It's
Hey, watch it. You see, because I want to know from being where, from our conversations, even these past 2 weeks, even on Clubhouse, that we kind of got similar morals. Okay,
Mhm.
I want to see your perspective on this, man. Because
Okay.
once again, me thinking of it, I'm getting goosebumps because that's how mad it makes me. That's the thing, and because my
That's why I
thing
haven't
is,
rewatched it.
they were
You can't rewatch it.
put it in. My thing is, everything would have been. They were happy. They had good communication. Everything was Gucci, but until we had racism. That's my thing.
But I want you to watch it. I want you to watch it,
That's all I
Dario.
want.
We're gonna
Like
get
I
on
would, once
Clubhouse to
again,
talk about it. I want you to watch
yeah,
it
and that's what so
because
we'll make a whole
Drake and I
everything
are
culture
looking at
group.
two different things at this point. Okay, I want you to watch it.
Because I know in this thing, I see what she's portraying. I see what and I'm that's automatic when you have a family. It should be automatic when you have a family and things. But it's like when you bring in a catalyst, when you bring in an outside factor, that's what kicks it off. If that outside factor was not there, I think they would still have a good line of communication. That outside factor is so strong and come in so many different varieties, and it's so much the way it's part of the system. You can't control the shit. That's the hard thing about it, and that's what we deal with still to this day. It once again, I talk about, man, my wife be worried about. I say it all the time. My wife will legit worry about me going walking to the mailbox. I can spit and hit the mailbox from where I'm at right here. Why the fuck do I even need to have that process? Why? That's why I'm saying that's what pisses me off about it. And that's what it is. Why do I even have to deal with that, man? You know, it's like
Why is there a fit
it,
description?
Right.
and that's man, this is it's not based on a true story, but it's based on reality. You know,
Yeah.
it has a lot of fictive things in it,
I
but
had
boy, they do a good job. They do a very good job.
Watch it. I want to hear what you have to, because okay,
I gotcha.
yes,
I got you.
Drake and I may disagree on some parts and we agree on some other parts, but there's, because to me, there's always going to be something that challenges your relationship.
Mhm.
Always,
I agree to
it
that
could
too.
be there's always going to be something that challenges your relationship, and it's not just that this thing is so strong. It's just that if there were, that's what I said, if there was better communication, and that's why, like, the one part that I want to bring up, I can't bring up because it's gonna
There's
ruin
one part
it.
I want to bring up too. Is one
But
certain entity that's missing
but
from this.
Dario, watch it, and we'll go episode by episode if you want. But watch it, and we're
I
gonna talk
gotcha.
about it.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm
Hey,
gonna watch it.
I don't know if Casey's gonna watch it with you or anything, but boy, whew,
If my sisters are
uh,
still watching, do not. I repeat, do not watch that series.
hold on, wait.
I
You
listen.
recommended to people, but not to your
I
people,
don't
not to your
recommend
family.
this to anybody.
I thought you recommend. You said it the other day. You recommend.
I did not recommend this to
Okay,
anybody.
okay. It's cool,
Look, even if you're a horror fan, this is a hard one to recommend.
man. And I remember saying I don't recommend it. I remember saying I don't recommend it because I'm saying
It's a
because
hard one to recommend.
it doesn't.
Because
Put
I'm
it this
thinking
way.
about people with kids. I'm thinking about people who go to work. I'm thinking about people who live in this day and age.
Just
I
black people, period. That's the thing.
Ooh.
And the thing about it, it's y'all go
Thank you,
watch
Casey.
y'all
Yeah,
check out
no.
Black Horror Humor. Okay, I see Casey. But when I tell you, it's to the point where it got a lot of scary stuff in it. But me being black, it makes me so mad that I can't be scared. That's how bad that ain't not bad, but that's how much that feeling like I can't feel scared because I want to fuck everything up in here. That's how it make me feel.
See, and that's how
I want to
you
shoot the
felt
club.
about it when I was
Not,
watching it and I was watching the parents. I was like, man, if my parents dealt with this stuff when I was a kid, you know what I mean? Like it made me have more appreciation for them to come home and still take care of the house while having to deal with the man, while having to deal with outside for like it like. And I told this story a little, I told the story probably on Black Horror Humor, but when we moved into our home, like when my childhood home, when they found out that it was us who bought the house, they went in, wrote the N-word all over the walls in the garage. Yeah, they had their dogs come out and like terrorize it. Yeah, my dad shotgun ready. And it was just like, it was like, okay, so this is really how we have to live. Okay.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's that's why I'm just like, if you watch this, like when I watched it, I gained more empathy for my parents and knowing that what it's like, what they had to go through to even come out sane in raising a family. And to the parents who have kids now, I don't know if you want to watch a reel of your whole life. Like it's a lot. That's why Crystal, look at me. Crystal.
See,
I'm so good.
Ma'am.
The Denario is a part that you've been. See, I think I'm assuming Denario would feel more like I feel because not only because we're men from the South, and it shows what it's like being from the South and moving to a different area outside the South, and you're dealing with different type of racism. That's the fuck I'm talking about. Because that shit
when he was on the roof,
that shit.
Woo!
But even that the first episode and the 7th episode, that connection, and that's why okay, once again, y'all make sure we about to get off in a second. Y'all, I appreciate all y'all being really TTKK, Casey,
record tonight.
Yeah, but being from this, I one of my top horror movies is Texas Chainsaw Massacre because I know that shit exists. Okay, it's no. You know, like if you from this, you see places like that, you know, and just like with this in this film here, with this series here, you know that shit most likely happen. That like it may happen numerous times, and that's the fucked up thing about it. That's
why I can't do it.
I call it humanized torture. I mean, humanized horror, right?
And that's why I kept saying it's like torture porn. That's what it feel like. It feel like, man, I can't deal with this, man.
But it's crazy. Like I can do the based on true stories horror. Like
I can't do Saw,
serial killer, slasher, but this is a whole different level of.
Most of the based on real life stuff is white people. Like, all that is white people. This is us. Well, I mean, I likened this to American Horror Story, American Gods, and Jordan Peele's directorial debut, Get Out. Right, so that's what this series reminds me of. It's a combination of all three of those. If you've never seen American Gods, it's like I'm trying to think what American Gods is like.
You didn't see clips from American God. What's that?
Yeah.
I'm
Orlando Bloom.
Orlando Jones.
Orlando Jones.
I don't want to call him Joanna Man. Is it Joanna Man?
Joanna Man is that's Nunez. What are you talking about?
Wrong person. Sorry. So
Eddie
Orlando
Griffin.
Jones.
Him and Eddie Griffin.
You talking about Double Take?
Double Take.
Yeah. Orlando Jones was one of the guys, and he did a great job the first 2 seasons.
No, that wasn't Wednesday. He was
Mr.
I forgot his name. But yeah, so them is like if you watch American Horror Story or and you liked it, or you watched if you liked season 1 or season 3 of American Horror Story,
Nancy.
or American Gods or Us. I mean, not Us, but
Get Out.
Get Out.
Yeah.
That's what this series is like. It's all those layers put together. You don't know when the ride is going to be over, but it takes you through a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Well, hey, y'all, I appreciate y'all. You know how we do it. It is everything culture here, man. This has been another Sunday night cap. Thank you so much, Leah, Crystal, Denario. How can everybody find y'all?
Ladies.
Oh, Denario, how can they find you? Social media, shout them out.
Like I said, everything is at Denario on Facebook, Denario Rogers. I'm the only Denario in the world, apparently. I looked. You can't, if you search my name, ain't nobody else showing up. So
That's it.
You know, I went to school with Denario, but his name was spelled D-A, not D-A-R. So that's I was like,
So,
okay.
which one is the real spelling Denario?
DAR. That's it.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey,
It's always been
that's
that.
all about right there.
So, you can find me. I'm very simple. I'm everywhere at Life Aligned Podcast. Well, let me rephrase. Instagram and Facebook, I'm at Life Aligned Podcast. That's Life with a Y. And on Twitter, I'm just Life Aligned because that was too many characters for Twitter. But Life Aligned everywhere.
Like that.
You just put a workbook out, right?
Oh my gosh. So, okay.
Girl, if you don't start plugging your stuff.
All right.
I do.
All right.
This
Okay.
is for
All right.
y'all know this, right?
No. We got to get in real close, y'all. So, so I just released it's a really, really powerful workbook. It's a 10-week workbook that is based on a 10-week course I offer. And it's really all about healing those deep traumas that really are holding you back. So whatever those hurts are, whatever those wounds are that you're holding on to, whether you're aware of them or not, this workbook really takes you on a 10-week journey to uncovering what those things are and then working to heal them, or at least begin the process of healing them, which will open you up to really living life on your terms. Like we talked about, a little bit about what we talked about in this episode, breaking those generational patterns that are not so healthy, that training that we receive, that programming that is not helping us, that is keeping us stuck. This workbook is really designed to help you begin to uncover and let go of all of that. And the other super, super, really, really big news that I will actually be announcing tomorrow on all my platforms is my partner and I call her my baby mama, because so Leah actually was part of this journey from day one. And I say that because we were in a group meditation, where I received, and it was just an image, like I saw an embryo, and I knew instantly. I'm like, either somebody on this call is pregnant or somebody is creating something. And that's all I knew. So like I told everybody on the call, I'm like, either one of y'all are pregnant or somebody's creating something. Literally minutes after I got off that call, I got a phone call from a girlfriend of mine, and tomorrow we are releasing a Lenormand card deck. So very quickly, I am also a tarot reader. So I read tarot cards. I work with tarot cards, oracle cards. Lenormand cards is a similar type deal. It's in the same vein. And one of my issues with what I do is that a lot of the tools that I use, a lot of the cards that I use do not look like me. They don't feel like me. And it's, obviously it's really important when I'm using these tools to be able to connect with them. So a wonderful, wonderful, super dope artist friend of mine, Michaela Fields, who is at, I'm gonna shout her out too, Unspoken Word Designs on Instagram. You can find her artwork. She does absolutely fabulous collages and just art in general. She's a fabulous artist. So anyway, we collaborated to design this deck. I'm super excited. It's the cards, it's a workbook, like it's just a whole big thing that I'm clearly super excited about. And yeah, so you guys are among the first to know about this project, this embryo that is now ready to be born.
That's super dope.
I loved it. I love that. Love it, love it, love it, love it. I'm following now. Unspoken Word Designs, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, bet. And as soon as we are able to get them, let me know. I can do a giveaway. I know some people would love this.
So actually, I'm glad. Yeah, so we are, and I'm gonna put it out there as well. I ain't confirmed this with her, but we'll figure it out. So we are doing we're doing limited edition boxes. So absolutely, they again, it's gonna be very limited run. Once they're sold, they're sold. But we will create one package as a giveaway, just to kind of, again, just announce this project, to share this project, get it into as many hands as possible, and just, yeah, share the love.
That's the stuff I love right there. For real. Leah.
See, plug your stuff, girl. Plug your stuff.
Yes. Tell me.
I'm learning. I know. This is something I'm working on. My throat chakra, working on opening it.
girl. Don't I know?
What you got for us, Leah?
Had to drink some water.
She got to hydrate herself, y'all. Just give us a second.
Okay. Let's start from so I am Leah. I am one of the 3 hosts on Black Horror Humor, and where I host with Drake and Baylor, or BTG, Baylor the Great President, where we watch horror films so you don't have to. So if you don't like watching horror films, you get to hear our perspective, which is 1 African-American male and 2 Black people, because I don't recognize myself as African-American. I'm Black. But Drake is the African-American in this group who will give us also his perspective of watching horror films. So even if you don't like it, we'll talk about it, bring our own comedic spin on it. It's a great time. So you can follow us at Black Horror Humor on Instagram and BHH Podcast on Twitter. And also, Take a Six Podcast is a podcast that I host with rotating co-hosts. My sister Kayla is my main co-host. I don't know if she's still on. She probably wants back. She got to go to work. But we release episodes every Tuesday. We go live every Thursday on Facebook and YouTube. We're at Take Up Space Pod on all social media. And then the other part is Champions of Discourse, which is my business. I'm at Champions of Discourse on everything. And I really created this business to help people learn how to communicate effectively with the world around them. We are, this is exclusive news. We will be launching our first seminars, our professional communication boot camp at the end of June. And I haven't even posted this on my social media yet. So
thank you.
Yeah, we just drop it like,
that's what we're talking about.
Girl, so
brand new,
I have been
like,
working.
Just dropping shit.
Hard, y'all.
Funk Flex with the bombs.
Oh my gosh. I've been doing so much work with it. I got the emails. I have everything. If you want to stay up to date, visit championsofdiscourse.com. Sign up for the email list. You'll make sure you'll be up to date with all the information, all the stuff we have going on. Our new season of Debate This 2, season 2 is coming out in September. So make sure before the new season drops, you go back and watch all 11 episodes. You get to hear how debate works. You get to be exposed to it, especially your kids. Some episodes there are some cursing, so just be aware of that. But other than that, not a lot of cursing. We keep it pretty clean. Drake was one of our judges for last season. May bring him back for this season, and I am really excited. So, if nothing else you heard today, go to championsofdiscourse.com and join the mailing list and stay up to date with all the events that we have going on. Anything with Take a Space podcast, anything with Champions of Discourse will all come out of championsofdiscourse.com.
All right, love it, love it. Go ahead, champions. Discord, stepping on up. COD. All right, all right. I'm so happy for y'all. Thank y'all so much for being here once again. But I'm your host, Mr. D713 with Everything Culture or Drake. The reason why we meet, this is Sunday night recap once again. Every Sunday we come together on Zoom. We go on Facebook. We go on live. Y'all see me on my workouts before Instagram, before trying to get y'all on in here. But we do this because we want to learn from different people, different cultures, backgrounds, traditions. Our mission statement comes from the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. That is, he believed that men hate each other because they fear each other. They fear each other because they don't know each other, and they don't know each other because of segregation and miscommunication. Our goal is to have a platform built off respect, communication, consistency, so we get to know each other, so we can love one another. So you can find us on almost anything at Everything Culture, where now you can listen to us on Spotify, iTunes, Google. I think it was Google. Can't even think of it. You you Google it, you can find this on something. Stitcher,
It's Google
Red.
Podcast, okay?
Google what?
Google
Google
Podcasts.
Podcast.
Google Podcast. You can find us on Google Podcast. You can find us on Stitcher, Red Circle, and we're now on Amazon Music and on Audible. So go check us out. So anywhere you want to hear our voices, you want to hear our perspectives, we are there, and we'd love for you to be a part of it. So hit us up. You can check me out at, just follow us at on Instagram. You can follow us on iTunes. I'm on iTunes. Well, leave a rating and follow us on iTunes, but you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Follow us on TikTok now. We're trying to push more on TikTok. So we're all over the place. But our main goal is once again to get to know each other. Happy Asian American and Pacific Islander Month, as well as National Stroke Awareness Month as well. And it's one more awareness month that
Mental
I'll be
health.
pushing on.
Yeah, mental health.
Mental illness month, correct. National Mental Illness Month. And because one thing we want to show and have these conversations, we want to bring awareness and thoughts to how we can be better people. And we can do that by knowing what we expect and what we see in one another. So I appreciate y'all joining us this Sunday. Hopefully, if we see y'all next Sunday, once again, it's Mother's Day. I appreciate your people while you got them. You only get one, but if you are one, hey, thank you for your service. Let's say that. You are appreciated. And once again, if you want to help and be a part of and supporting Everything Culture, not only following us, not only sharing our material, not only even giving us feedback, but if you like to do it in a monetary way, you can go to our PayPal, Everything Culture. You can become a monthly subscriber. Hell, $2 a month would make us happy. Whatever you feel in your heart would go a long way. Because trust me, if I had this little Procaster that we will make sure to shout it. If you want us to get your name engraved on, and I don't mind if you want to help support for that, that's a good little price right there. But hey, we're willing. But when I say, because I would love to play that we appreciate you from Tupac right there. That's that type of stuff. We got them creative minds, but it all comes together. But we love what we do here. As Leah said, check out Black Horror Humor, another podcast we're a part of. Check out the fan. If it's someone following we support on Twitter where we podcast, make sure to check them out. So once again, we love what we do here. We're thankful for everybody being here. And we'll see y'all tomorrow for our next episode. And we'll see y'all next Sunday for our next recap. I'll check